Okay, today's lesson is Chapter 1, Lesson 2, and it's about estimating with whole numbers. Some of you asked about Bella, and you want to know how chunky she was? Well, this is how chunky she is. And since you want to know about Bella, today's question is going to be about Bella. The question you need to answer when you come to school tomorrow is, if Bella needs 9 treats a day to survive, and we are going on vacation for a week, about how many treats do we need to leave for Bella? So at the end of this lesson, Bean just jumped up on the table. Bean, get out. So at the end of this lesson, when you push rewind, you're going to answer this question right here. And you need to have an answer for me for class tomorrow. So, the objective today is I will be able to estimate the answer of a problem in the most efficient way. We're going to learn 3 different ways to estimate numbers in this lesson, and you're going to need to be able to pick one depending on what the problem is. So, the first thing you need to know, there's 2 real vocabulary words, and the first one is overestimate, and the second one is underestimate, or to overestimate, or to underestimate. So when you overestimate something, you're guessing a little bit higher than what the real answer would be. And when you underestimate, you're guessing a little bit lower than what the real answer would be. And I'm going to show you those in some problems in a minute here. But the first thing that we are going to do is we're going to estimate by place value. So we're going to have a problem that is something like this. It'll say something like 8,549 plus 2,133. And it'll say round to the hundredths place. Hundreds place. And so what it wants you to do is front-end estimation. That means at the beginning of the problem. So we look, it says it wants us to estimate to the hundredths place. So what we need to do on our problem is we need to go and we need to find the hundredths place, and we're going to underline it on both numbers. So we have ones, tens, hundreds, thousands. So we're going to underline hundreds on both of the numbers. And then what we're going to do is when we estimate, we look to the right of the spot that we are looking at. And if the number is 5 or higher, we're going to round up. And if it's 4 or lower, we're going to round down. And so on this one, we go 1 to the right, and the number is 4. That is lower than 5, so we're going to round down. When we round down, all we do is we go to that spot it wanted us to round to, and we're just going to change these 2 numbers to 0. So it's going to be 8,500. On this problem, on this one, we take a look at the 1, and then we're going to go to the right, and this one is also below 5, so we're going to round down. So all we're going to do is change those both to 0. Then we're just going to stack them and add them. So we have 2,100 plus 8,500. 0, 0, 5 plus 1, 6. 8 plus 2 is 10, so our answer is 10,600. That's the first way that we can do problems. That's when it gives us the place value to estimate. That's what we're going to do for those problems. So I'm going to give you one to practice right now. So in your math notebook, I want you to do this. You're going to need to show me that you solved this problem with me tomorrow. So I'm going to write down the problem, and you're going to pause it, and then you're going to go through and make sure you did it right and solve it with me. So this one, we're going to do 1,399 plus 2,084. And we're going to round to the tens place. Okay, pause and solve. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do, it says tens column. So let's underline the tens column in both the numbers. So there's a ones on here, so that's the tens. Here's a 1, so this is the tens. Let's start with this number right here. we look to the right, that 9 is higher than 5. So we're going to round up. So this 9 would be a 10. This is a little bit more complicated. So if it's a 10, then we're going to change this 9 to a 10. Well, that means that we're going to put a 0 there and add, since it's a 10, that 1 would be in the hundreds column, so we're going to add it. And it's going to be 1,400. And then we drop that 9 and make it a 0. On this problem right here, we look at the 8, we look to the right, and the number is lower than 5, so we just round it down, and it'll be 0. So then we stack them, and we'll add them. So 2,080 plus 1,400, the answer is going to be 3,480. Okay, so that's the first way we're going to estimate. The next problem we're going to do is one that's just like the problem that I gave you about Bella. We're going to answer a problem. This is an example in your book. It says, Mr. Escobar is planning a graduation celebration for the entire 8th grade. There are 9 8th grade homeroom classes with 27 students each. Estimate how many cups Mr. Escobar needs to buy so that each student, so if they all attend the celebration. So, if you have 9 classes and they each have 27 students in them, our math problem is going to be 9 times 27, but we're going to round it. And in this problem, we need to use our brains to figure out, should we round up or should we round down? And so, if you think about it, if he wants to know how many students are coming and he needs to buy supplies for them, is he going to round up or down? Well, if he rounded down, then what would happen? If we rounded it to 9 times 25, for example, we'd get an answer and he'd go get cups, but then not enough students would have cups. So in this situation, we need to round it up, because it's okay to have extra, but you don't want to leave anyone out. So we're going to round up. So 9 homeroom classes, and we're going to round that 27 up to 30. And then we have a simple math problem. 9 times 30, we can line it up like this, or you can use mental math. Mental math, we have 9 times 3, which is 27. We have an extra 0, so our answer is 270. So the correct answer would be 270 there. The third way that you're going to do estimation is based on compatible numbers. Compatible numbers mean the two numbers work well together. So, if we have, for example, a division problem, like 123 divided by 6. What we want to do is we're going to try and make this one as easy as possible. So we're going to look and see if there's any numbers that look like they can work well together. And what I see there is if we change that 123 to 120, and then we divide it by 6, if we divide 12 divided by 6, that goes evenly. It's a nice even number. So that's what I'm going to do there. I'm going to do 120 divided by 6. I'm going to estimate, and my estimation will give me a 20. No, cut it out. You need to get kicked out. Get out of here. She doesn't want to go. Another problem that would be like that would be, for example, if we had 26 divided by 5. If you do 26 divided by 5, you can't get an even number. But if we estimate correctly, we can get an even number. So, if we had 26 divided by 5, would it make sense to round up to 27 or 28 or 29? Not really. The closest number, what's a close number that we could divided by 5 evenly? Well, we know that 25 you could divide by 5 evenly and you can get 5. So what we're going to do is we're going to do 25, we're going to round it to 25, and then we're going to do 25 divided by 5. The reason we're going to do that is because we know that 5 times 5 is 25. And so, this way, in real life, is what you're going to do a lot too. you're going to make numbers so that they're easier to work with. Another problem, if you have 102 divided by 50. This one's pretty simple. 102 divided by 50. What's an easy number that's close to 100 that we could divide by 50? So we would round it to 100 so that we could divide it by 50 because it goes evenly, and it gives us 2. So that's the third way that it's going to ask you to divide. Okay, so those are the things you need to know from estimating whole numbers. Those 3 ways. And I'll be able to show everyone a little bit more about that tomorrow during class. But make sure you rewind to the beginning and answer the question. Remember, you had to determine about how many treats we need to buy for Bella. That's the problem. See you tomorrow in class.